I would like to change in this bank. Being a startup TL would be the way the bank thinks. In the last couple of years, I have met so many startup founders, and I have realized that being a traditional organization, our thought process has to change to align with the way the founders think. While we have done some distance, I think we have a lot of miles to achieve that.
If there's something that I could bring about a change in, it would be processes first of all. Because being an ARM, there are a lot of processes that I realize are dependent on other teams, and the only way to bring in efficiency and reduce the TAT would be by giving an end-to-end responsibility to the ARM for those processes, which would really improve and bring about a change in terms of deliverables. The next thing that I would suggest that could use a change or an upgrade would be our systems. We still use systems which could definitely use an upgrade, because there are a lot of tools out there such as Power Apps and repository-based tools or web app-based tools, which kind of give a visibility centrally, rather than having systems at present which have more of a local access and which has to be shared from time to time, bringing in redundancies. But bringing in such advanced systems and tools could really cut down on those redundancies and help us again in making our processes and systems far more efficient than our present circumstances are.
One thing we should look for implementation in the current scheme of things in HSBC, as an RM, we should start looking as a customer relationship at the top of everything. We should, as an RM, we should drive the complete relationship, and we should ensure that all the revenue streams, not just transaction banking revenues, which is only restricted to Forex and current account balances, everything which a customer wants should be driven by an RM. For example, transaction banking, insurance, investments, wealth, everything should be driven by an RM, and RM should be the front runner for all this relationship to the bank.
First of all, I would like to make our entire process very simpler. Some of our processes are very complex, and as compared to other banks, we take a longer time to do some such things which can be done in a less time. So that will actually help us to go all guns blazing in the market and capture more and more opportunities. And the second thing which I really think that we can implicate is that we can include the younger generation and the people who have joined in last say 1 or 2 years into things like strategy meetings and all, who can come out with out-of-box ideas, and that may help us to position ourselves as a different bank. That's all. Thank you.
I believe from an ARM perspective, it would be to automate submission of stock statement and insurance compliance documents, basically, which client submits to us manually. This could probably be done through HSBC Net portal, where client uploads these documents. They already have started submitting digitally signed documents. I believe there could be a method to bring them in totally online and totally paperless, and for a way for us to track the same through some portal, or so that it basically, I believe that would clear out our bandwidth a little. So that's what new thing that I would like to implement.
Given an opportunity, I would like to have a unified interface for all my customer, a one-stop solution, so that all my customer can seamlessly do their transaction. For example, right now we have 3 portals: HSBC Net, we have ITS, we have DigiTrade. I would like to unify all these solutions under one platform, so that they can do under same ID RTGS transaction and their trade transaction, and also their tax payment, which will help them in a seamless journey with HSBC.
I feel I've been struggling a lot with the processes, getting my IDs up. These are certain challenges which I've been facing. I feel this is something, an area where HSBC can do much better, simplifying the processes, availing your IDs and everything. So it's too confusing for a new person to come in and to get through all those IDs and set up and get into the groove of working. It's a little tricky over here. I think it should be as simple as how hiring happens.
If given an opportunity, I would like to simplify the HSBC Net platform by making it more user-friendly and accessible to the clients. During the month end, the bandwidth of the CSM and the RM gets completely choked, as the clients are not able to resolve the queries faced on the HSBC Net, nor the help desk is efficient enough to reach out to the client and get it resolved. Hence, I think that this particular piece requires a lot of attention.
for sure the first thing would be to make our ops guys also think from a customer point of view rather than just follow the process and stick to the turnaround times and the SLAs. They should also think from a relationship manager perspective and also understand that at the end the bank makes money from these customers.
The change that I actually want to bring is to curb certain obvious road-blocking processes at HSBC. For example, when a new joinee onboards onto the bank, the person spends a considerable amount of time and energy in taking multiple accesses, understanding the process. So why don't we have something in place that once we are handing the system to the person, they already have access to the certain mandatory tools which are required for the business profile, since we already know what role the person is going to join in. So this way, instead of spending the first 2 months being clueless and taking accesses, we spend the first 2 months in having a more focused learning of what your business is supposed to be. So certain aspects of the business and that processes which are required in that. For example, an account opening, how do we make an RSS, how do we fill in the internals? I know there are trainings for all of this, but for a new joinee it is more important to understand hands-on rather than spending time in doing certain things which could have been avoided by giving an automatic access.
I think I would have got that magic back to work, the fun, the liveliness of workplace. That's something which is missing. In this very little time, I've noticed people have become way too target oriented. They've been only talking about numbers and figures and things. I think they've forgotten how to enjoy workplace. So that's something which I would like to bring back at work. Fun.
I would have simplified our entire CAM processing and CAM proposal system. Today, if you go in any bank, the proposal system is very easy. You just make a Word doc and submit it in the system. But here, we have to take 3-4 pre-processing before doing any single proposal. I want my disbursement to happen in a week, and for that, I need one-stop and one-day solution to my CAM proposal.
I would want to portray that HSBC should become a house of brands. What I mean to say is, for example, inside the HSBC, in the transaction banking or the business banking, we should have specialists across the verticals. For example, we do have a startup team who's dedicatedly working towards the startup accounts. We should have a small vertical who's specifically looking towards the ITITS. We should have a specific team which is only looking for the manufacturing setup. We should be considered as a house of brands. Just for example, to analogy, for example, Tata Chemicals, Tata Power. So basically it's a house of brands. So we should portray ourselves as a house of brands with specialists working together.
We've seen a lot of new hirings and new people joining the team in the last 2 years. If there's one thing that could really motivate them is how do we empower the youngsters to think differently and not go with the flow, because senior people like us have been in the bank for quite long, and beyond a point we can't think beyond out of the box type. So if you're able to provide the same kind of empowerment and authority to the youngsters, can they really take this forward to the next level in terms of what we can do as a bank for customers, for internal processes? So yeah, I think empowerment is very, very important, and that's what differentiates us from a new age company or a tech company.